Relationships can be the most fulfilling aspect of life, but they can also become the most destructive when rooted in control, manipulation, or abuse. While romanticized versions of love flood our culture, many people, especially women, find themselves trapped in partnerships that slowly erode their confidence, freedom, and sense of safety. This long-form article dives deep into the 5 most telling signs of a dangerous man or husband, signals that often go ignored until it's too late. Understanding the warning signs is not about labeling every mistake as a red flag, it's about recognizing patterns that indicate something more sinister. It's about empowering individuals to trust their gut, identify unhealthy behaviors, and take steps towards safety and healing. Love should not hurt, instill fear, or leave one walking on eggshells. If you or someone you know is questioning whether their relationship is healthy, this guide may offer clarity. We will explore each sign in depth: what it looks like, why it's harmful, how it escalates, and what to do about it. Real-life stories and psychological insight will accompany each section to provide a fuller understanding of the dynamics at play. The 5 signs we will explore. Controlling behavior. Explosive anger and intimidation. Chronic dishonesty and deception. Lack of empathy or narcissistic traits. History of abuse or criminal behavior. By the end of this video, you'll have not only the knowledge to identify dangerous traits but also the tools to move forward toward a life of peace, self-worth, and real love. Sign number 1, controlling behavior. Control is the cornerstone of abusive relationships. It often masquerades as care, concern, or romantic intensity in the early stages. A dangerous man may say he's only trying to protect you, but the reality is that he's working to eliminate your autonomy. Early red flags. Dictating what you wear, who you talk to, where you go. Constantly checking in on you under the guise of love. Making you feel guilty for spending time with others. How it escalates. You find yourself isolated from friends and family. You stop pursuing hobbies, dreams, or goals. Your world shrinks to revolve entirely around him. Why it's dangerous. Controlling men often escalate into emotional, psychological, and even physical abusers. They are not interested in partnership, they are obsessed with domination. Real-life case study. Sarah, a 29-year-old teacher, thought she'd found her soulmate. Within a year, her boyfriend had persuaded her to quit her job, cut ties with her closest friends, and relocate to a remote area for a better life. When she began to question him, he labeled her ungrateful and began threatening to take away her access to money and transportation. How to respond. Rebuild your support system. Document controlling behaviors. Seek professional help or counseling. Make an exit plan discreetly. Sign 2, explosive anger and intimidation. A dangerous man often uses anger not as an emotion but as a tool of power. His fury is disproportionate, unpredictable, and terrifying. You may find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do just to avoid setting him off. Signs of explosive anger. Yelling, cursing, or name-calling during disagreements. Destroying property, punching walls, throwing objects. Threats to harm you, others, or himself. The intimidation tactics. Standing too close when angry. Staring with a blank or hateful expression. Using silence as punishment. The abuse cycle. Tension builds. Violent or angry outburst. Apologies, gifts, or excuses. Period of calm before the next explosion. Real-life story. Jessica endured years of emotional volatility from her husband. He never hit her, but he would scream inches from her face, smash dishes, and blame her for provoking him. Eventually, she stopped speaking up altogether to avoid the consequences. How to respond. Know that this behavior is not your fault. Document incidents in a journal or safe space. Create a safety plan with trusted individuals. Seek professional guidance or shelter services. Sign 3, chronic dishonesty and deception. Truth is the foundation of intimacy. When lies and half-truths take its place, relationships turn toxic and dangerous. A man who constantly deceives you is manipulating reality to serve his agenda. Common forms of dishonesty. Lying about finances, whereabouts, past relationships. Withholding key information. Gaslighting, making you doubt your memory or sanity. Why it's so harmful. You begin to distrust your instincts. Your sense of reality becomes blurred. The liar often shifts blame to make you feel crazy. Story from the field. Monica's partner claimed to be divorced with 2 kids. Months into their relationship, she discovered he was still married and hiding a 3rd child. When she confronted him, he twisted the story to make her feel guilty for snooping. How to deal. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Cross-check stories and look for inconsistencies. Have open conversations and observe reactions. Consider whether rebuilding trust is truly possible. Sign 4, lack of empathy or narcissistic traits. Empathy is the glue of human connection. A dangerous man often lacks this essential trait, making him incapable of truly caring about your needs, emotions, or pain. Traits of low empathy/narcissism. Dismissing your feelings or calling you too sensitive. Always making everything about himself. Cruelty masked as jokes. Narcissistic behaviors. Inflated sense of self-importance. Need for excessive admiration. Exploiting others without remorse. Why it's dangerous. Without empathy, he can inflict deep emotional wounds and feel nothing. He may use love as a tool, charming you one moment and devaluing you the next. Real example. Lena dated a man who never apologized. When her father died, he complained that she was too moody and ruining his week. He belittled her goals and responded to emotional conversations with boredom or laughter. Steps to take. Research narcissistic abuse and emotional neglect. Keep a journal of dismissive or degrading moments. Seek therapy for validation and clarity. Limit or cut off contact when safe to do so. Sign 5, history of abuse or criminal behavior. Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. A man with a known history of violence, stalking, or criminality should raise immediate red flags. Warning signs in his history. Previous restraining orders or domestic violence charges. Multiple exes with similar accusations. Time in jail or ongoing legal issues. Why you must take this seriously. Many abusers follow a predictable pattern across relationships. They may claim their exes were crazy or that the past was misunderstood. But too often, the same traits reappear and escalate. Case study. Carmen's boyfriend had 2 ex-girlfriends who accused him of abuse. He convinced her they were lying. Months later, he became physically aggressive with her. The signs were there, she just didn't want to believe them. Protect yourself, a survivor's guide to recognizing and escaping a dangerous man. There comes a point in every dangerous relationship where silence becomes unbearable and confusion becomes clarity. That moment, when the truth can no longer be ignored, is sacred. It's the beginning of freedom. Recognizing the signs of a dangerous man isn't just about labeling red flags, it's about protecting your mental health, your emotional safety, your physical well-being, and even your future. This section is for the woman who's second-guessing herself, for the one who's quietly gathering courage, and for the survivor who's already taken the hardest step, choosing herself. We're going to break this down with tools, truth, and emotional empowerment. There is no shame in being targeted by a manipulative, dangerous man. These individuals are often charismatic, skilled at hiding their darkest traits, and experts at gaslighting. But once you start seeing clearly, you can never unsee. 1. Do a background check when possible. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about being wise. A man's past isn't always buried, and in many cases, it leaves clues. A background check doesn't just reveal legal records, it reveals patterns. Has he been arrested for domestic violence? Are there restraining orders? Has he been involved in civil lawsuits with past partners? Many survivors have said, "If only I'd looked deeper." So look. Ask questions. Check public records. Hire a service if you must. This is especially crucial if he rushes the relationship. He's secretive about his past or avoids the topic. He tries to isolate you quickly from friends and family. Men with a history of abuse often repeat it. Even if he seems loving now, history matters. You are not being disrespectful or crazy for checking facts. You are protecting your life. Real talk. If he has a record of harming others, believe that he can harm you too. Don't rely on charm, rely on data. 2. Listen to what his exes say. Too often, we dismiss the stories of women who came before us. We assume they were bitter, crazy, dramatic. But survivors rarely lie about abuse. If multiple women tell you he's manipulative, violent, emotionally abusive, or controlling, listen. Patterns matter. This doesn't mean you believe gossip blindly. But you do take it seriously. You investigate. You reflect. You observe. Some dangerous men will try to spin every story. She was obsessed with me. She lied and ruined my life. All my exes are crazy. That's not normal. One toxic ex. Maybe. But if every ex is crazy, chances are, he's the common denominator. Warning sign. He doesn't just trash talk an ex, he destroys her reputation to you, isolates you from learning the truth, and paints himself as the constant victim. Empowered response. Reach out discreetly to a former partner if possible. Ask questions. If she says, "Please be careful," don't brush it off. 3. Don't rationalize or excuse disturbing history. Sometimes the danger is obvious, but we don't want to believe it. So we rationalize. He's changed. That was years ago. He was going through a rough time. I'm different, I can help him heal. Let's be clear, you are not his therapist. You are not a project. You are not his redemption arc. When a man has a disturbing history, especially involving past partners, violent behavior, or manipulation, your job is not to fix him. Your job is to protect you. Many women stay because they believe he just needs love. He doesn't mean to be cruel. He's had a hard life. You can acknowledge his pain without sacrificing your safety. Compassion does not mean codependency. Bottom line. If you feel uneasy about his past, that's your intuition trying to save you. Don't explain it away. Don't ignore it. 4. Leave at the first signs of repeat behavior. Dangerous men rarely change without extensive help and accountability. Most don't change at all. So when you start noticing signs that mirror past stories or red flags you once ignored, leave. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait until he hits you or drains your bank account or isolates you completely. The moment the manipulation, control, gaslighting, or emotional cruelty resurfaces, that's your cue. Common repeat behaviors. Explosive temper. Love bombing followed by cruelty. Withholding affection as punishment. Accusations and jealousy. Subtle threats masked as jokes. It's easy to tell yourself, it's not that bad yet. But, yet, is the key word. The first act of cruelty is usually not the last. Strongest action. Have a plan in place before you confront him or leave. Dangerous men often become most volatile when they feel they're losing control. 5. Dangerous relationships thrive in silence, confusion, and fear. The reason these relationships last so long isn't because the victim is weak. It's because she's confused. She's gaslit. She's isolated. And worst of all, she's scared. Abuse doesn't always look like bruises. It often looks like apologizing for his mood. Changing how you dress or speak. Keeping secrets from your friends. Questioning your reality. Crying alone and not knowing why. The longer you stay, the harder it gets to leave. But the moment you start speaking, things begin to change. Conclusion and Empowerment Guide, Reclaiming Your Life. There's a world outside of this pain, a world filled with peace, safety, and real love. This guide is about helping you reach that world. It's not easy. But it's possible. You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're not broken. You are waking up. Empowering steps. Let's turn insight into action. Whether you're still in the relationship or you've already left, these steps will help guide your journey back to wholeness. 1. Speak to someone you trust. Your truth deserves a witness. Start small if you have to, a friend, sibling, therapist, or hotline. Talking helps break the silence and validate your experiences. Choose someone who won't judge or minimize what you've been through. This might feel terrifying, but remember, abusers thrive on secrecy. The moment you start talking, you take your power back. 2. Plan your exit discreetly. If you're still with him and you suspect he's dangerous, don't announce your departure. Don't argue. Don't confront. Just plan. Save money quietly. Gather documents. Create an emergency bag. Identify a safe place to go. Use incognito browsers. Delete your search history. Talk to a domestic violence shelter about how to exit safely. They can help you create a personalized plan. Leaving can be the most dangerous moment. Be smart. Be safe. Be strategic. 3. Reconnect with people and passions that bring you joy. One of the first things a dangerous man steals is your identity. He isolates you from friends, makes you abandon hobbies, and turns your world into a reflection of his control. Take your world back. Call the friend you lost touch with. Sign up for a dance class or writing workshop. Go to the beach. Hike. Paint. Laugh. Joy is resistance. Passion is power. Every step back to yourself is a rebellion against his control. 4. Seek therapy and survivor support groups. You don't have to do this alone. Therapists trained in trauma and abuse recovery can help you unpack the gaslighting, rebuild your self-esteem, and process the pain. Support groups can be just as powerful. Hearing other survivors say, "Me too," can shatter your shame and remind you, you're not the only one. Healing is not linear. There will be setbacks. But every tear you cry in safety is a victory. You are not alone. Let this truth settle in your bones. You are not alone. Thousands, millions of women have walked through the fire and made it out. Some with scars, yes. But also with strength, clarity, and a mission to help others. You are not weak for staying. You are not crazy for loving him. You are not broken beyond repair.